Make your own gold claws in wire. Level 4 and 5. Level 4. Triangle frames. Start with about 1.5 arms length of wire. Measure and bend 1 centimeter segments. This is to form your first triangle. Twist around and lock into place. Here I am using a green wire that is more rigid to give the frame strength. Make sure to get this right, as this is the starting triangle at the tip. Continue by making a 1 centimeter segment as a gap. Then bend 1 centimeter segments for the next triangle. You can use 1 finger's width as well if you prefer not to measure. As before, close and lock the second triangle. Fold over the gap wire, then away. In this case, I'll be doing sets of 3 triangles. Make sure to align your triangles. This will make it more convenient later. Now, increase the segment lengths to 1.5 centimeters. I wanted a subtle widening taper for my claw, but you can increase yours in larger increments. Lock this triangle with 1.5 centimeter sides. Here you loop over to the back, then towards the right. As before, I'll make a set of 3 triangles. You can make more for a longer taper. See how I measured the 1.5 centimeter gap, then copied it for the triangle? Just relax, it needs not to be that precise. Now we're at the third triangle of this set. Sorry, I keep changing the orientation. I do it to what is convenient while recording. Before proceeding to the next set, go back to the nail end. Measure 3 centimeters for the nail triangle. Lock at the bottom corner of the first triangle. You can make the nail as long and as pointed as you want. As I said before, I wanted my taper to be subtle. Using the shorter end, continue to the subsequent triangles. This is like the level 2 and 3 design. Try to match the opposite segment as much as possible, to form squares on the bottom. Loop over and around the wire. See the subtle tapering claw taking shape? Besides the use of a different wire, the claw is more structurally sound because of the triangle shape. The pointed shape also contributes to the sharp-looking appearance, as you'll see in later steps. Start to align and adjust your frames. You need to maintain the bottom squares and equilateral triangles. Here I readjust the pointed tip of the nail to make it sharper. Continue with the next set of 3 triangles. Let's skip ahead. The last set had triangles with 2 centimeter sides. Here I add a 4th triangle, which serves as the base of the claw. You can alter this one closer to the size of your finger, with some allowance, to better hold the claw when worn. Lock the triangle to place. You can trim the excess, but I prefer to keep it around and spiral it in place. In this test fit, you can see I made this with a pointer finger in mind. Besides the new frame, this next step is what makes this level 4. Measure your second gold wire over so it reaches the last ring with some excess. Lock at the tip of the nail end. As before, loop over and through the triangles towards the right, because I made this for a right hand. Be aware of the spacing of this one, as this will lock in the curved taper of the top of your claw. See how by looping over to the right, it curves towards the left. That is intentional. Once near or at the end, you can lock the wire into place. Make sure to adjust your curve at this point. With the longer end, you'll spiral around the 3 sides of the nail. Here, you see I am spiraling through and around to keep the gold on top of the green. Wrap around tightly at the pointed end. Now we can proceed to the next step. Connect to the midpoint of the opposite bottom side. Wrap around once. Whenever you intersect the top gold wire, angle the loop over. Then continue to the midpoint of the bottom side. Loop through and around. Then, you can bridge to the first triangle's vertex. Loop over, then continue as before. Connect to the middle of the gold top wire. Loop over, then bend towards the opposite vertex. See how this spiraling pattern creates diagonal lines that emphasize the curve of the claw? Continue to spiral around the 3 sides of the claw. In my case, I keep the wire flat against the frame to retain the shiny surface of the spiraling wire. Now we can skip ahead. See the diagonal accent? Let's jump ahead. Now we're near the end. Bridge over to the vertex and lock into place. For the last triangle, you can cover over it with the gold wire. Here you see me lock it first, then go over the top surface. And then lock it to the bottom side. As always, you can trim the wire at this point or spiral around to triangle, to thicken the side. Once done, lock the remaining excess wire into place. Here, I decide to lock around the straight sides instead of the gold-covered triangle. And with that, it's done. Check the taper of the claw. Shape the accents and the nail. This is level 4. Triangle frame. It's sharper, sturdier, and structurally sound. Level 5. Segmented claw. You are using the design of level 4 as a base for this one. This time, I measured 4 centimeters for the nail, and 1 centimeter for the first triangle. Here, I lock the side into place first, and then build the remaining sides. Loop through the nail triangle over and towards the right. Now measure 1 centimeter for the gap, and 2 centimeters for the next triangle sides. See how it makes a trapezoid instead? Continue making the 2 centimeter sides of this triangle. Thread the wire through and over, then away from the nail. As before, make a 1 centimeter gap. Then this time make a 3 centimeter segment. See the pattern? The triangle sides get larger in 1 centimeter increments. Lock this 3 centimeter sided triangle to place. Now, make the 1 centimeter gap, then a 4 by 4 by 4 centimeter triangle. See how the taper is more drastic? It's immediately taller and wider, making one series of 4 triangles. Loop through, over and towards the base. Here I briefly sharpen the points and adjust the spacing of 1 claw segment. Here comes probably the most important step. With a 1 centimeter gap, return to a 2 centimeters triangle. Notice the opposite tapered bottom trapezoid? Now, continue with the 2 centimeters triangle. This starts the next segment. As this level 5 was made with a thumb in mind, I am making only 2 total segments. Here, I also loop the opposite wire through the 2 centimeter sided triangle towards the back and away. See how the loop over curves the claw to the bottom left. Now we can proceed with the next 3 by 3 by 3 centimeter triangle. Loop over and through. Here's the start of this last portion of this segment. The 4 centimeters sided triangle. Now you can appreciate why I call this a segmented claw. You have multiple tapering segments attached together. It even looks like a seahorse head at this point. Maybe make a seahorse for next project? I sharpen the points to emphasize the taper of the top line of the claw. Loop over the long wire through, then away and over. This time you can go back to a 2 cm sided triangle as the last one. Or you can size the last of the triangles to your ring size with some allowance. Loop over and through. And with that, the first half is done. Straighten the lines and adjust the angles. Since this wire is softer and more pliable, it bends more readily. A test fit here shows the 2 segments for a thumb, and would require a third for a longer finger. Similar to level 4, we now add the second wire for the spiral accent. Thread though and over the tip of the nail. Loop over the triangles in increasing size with the top wire, keeping in mind the taper of the segment. Once you reach the final triangle of this segment, you'll adjust the top wire accordingly. Create an inward bend first about 2 cm in, then bend back to the 2 cm triangle's top. This simulates the connection of the first and second segments. Continue as before until you reach the last triangle, repeating the inward bend at the end. It looks good. You can stop at this point if you want. Lock the wire at the end into place. However, I prefer to continue with the longer wire and spiral around the segments. It gives it an accent and weight. Loop over the sides from the tip, like level 4. Loop tightly at the tip. Bridge over to the midpoint of the opposite side. Then loop over. Loop over the top side. Then match the midpoint on the opposite side. Now connect to the bottom triangle vertex and continue to spiral around the sides. See the shine of the wire? This was why I made this gold on gold, and kept going with this spiral. Let's skip ahead to any new developments. Lock the wire at the inward bend first, before continuing to the next triangle. Since I ran out of wire here, I connected a new piece, by hooking a short piece then twisting around it. I twist around where the last wire ended, to secure it in place. Now, I can continue with this second segment. But let's skip ahead again. Now we're at the vertex of the last triangle of the second segment, bridging over to the final triangle. See how I am meeting the inward angle? All that remains is to lock the excess wire into place. As before, I spiral around the final triangle, which secures it around the finger. Do so with the opposite excess wire. See the shine? Make the final adjustments. Curve the claw taper. Try it on for size. Fix the triangle sides and the spiral accent. And with that, you're done. Level 5. Segmented claw. Here's a top view, so you can appreciate the two different tapers of the claw. Here's all of them. Level 1 to 5. Level 1. Basic spiral. Level 2. Consecutive rings. Level 3. Long spiral with trim. Level 4. Triangle frame, gold spiral accent on green. Level 5. Segmented claw, gold on gold. And worn together. DIY gold claws in 5 levels. Make one for yourself. Use it as an accessory or a fashion statement. Use the design as a frame for a papier-mâché prop claw. Or modify and paint one for costumes for masquerades or Halloween. DIY golden claws. Level 1 to 5. Good luck, and thanks for watching.